trial proceedings in federal prosecutors' 2020 election case against former President Donald Trump will begin on March 4th, 2024. That's just one day after Super Tuesday. Judge Tanya Chutkan ruled that while Trump has the right to prepare, quote, the public has a right to prompt and efficient resolutions of this matter. Now, Trump's lawyers requested the trial be delayed until 2026. However, Chutkan argued that it cannot and should not depend on the defendant's professional obligations, a nod to Trump's busy 2024 campaign schedule, noting that if a professional athlete were on trial, it would be inappropriate to set a trial date to accommodate her schedule.
Now, the former president has yet to respond to these new developments. However, he did engage in some mid-morning competition bashing. Rumors are strong in political circles that Ron DeSanctimonious, whose presidential run is a shambles and whose poll numbers have absolutely crashed, putting him in third and fourth in some states, will be dropping out of the presidential race in order to run in Florida against Rick Scott for Senate. Now, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Of course, that was a tweet from Donald Trump.
Many people are saying,
back on
rumors. Who is spreading this rumor? I think it's Donald Trump.
Right, so one part of the news.
I have not heard this rumor.
One aspect of this news is that Donald Trump came back onto Twitter in amazing fashion.
To share his mugshot.
Amazing sense of communication strategy, media intelligence.
It is wild if you scroll through, like his last tweet was, and no, I will not be attending the convocation, what do I say, the swearing in of Biden. Mm-hmm. The inauguration. Thank you very much. And then the next one is his mugshot years later.
Yeah, and it obviously became a very popular image very quickly. And now he's back on the app, and it looks like we're going to move into the world where he is able to control largely the media narrative by tweeting out his thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Now, people did perceive Ron DeSantis to do less well in the debate than perhaps a front runner should. He did seem to fade into the bushes a little bit as the appearances of Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy took center stage. Mm-hmm. But he was still literally center stage, and most polls still have him, strongly in second place. We did reference some that had Vivek making some gains, Nikki Haley making some more significant gains, but he still remains on top.
I mean, DeSantis, according to Fox News Digital, for Iowa specific, he has risen from 14 to 21%. I mean, he's running and Trump actually slid just a percentage from 42 to 41. I mean, that's 41 to 21. That is a little bit close. That's not quite the 50, and everybody else is in single digits. DeSantis has spent a lot of time in Iowa. Mm-hmm. He's concentrating very much on an all-in Iowa strategy. Look, it's not. You cannot discount him totally out yet. He could pull off a surprise win, a big win in Iowa, and use that momentum to carry himself forward to other primaries. I've pointed out many times that the 2008 race, which was very chaotic, had Rudy Giuliani ahead right now, not as much as Trump's ahead by, but eventually McCain pulled off a New Hampshire win and was able to take the nomination. So it's not totally over yet.
No, the media just wants it to be. I think the liberal media and all the media has been dancing on DeSantis' grave because it makes for a good narrative, because he isn't the most likable, charming, or charismatic guy. You have whole media cycles devoted to, he liked putting off his fingers, or other kinds of gaffes that aren't really gaffes. People love to enjoy the awkward smiles. There were some debate moments where he does come off as kind of inhuman, but not substantive. Those aren't substantive critiques of him.
So now we have a trial date for Trump. Mm-hmm. It's around Super Tuesday. I think obviously the judge is right that it's just because he's running for president doesn't obligate the legal system to accommodate him, just like it's any other professional obligation. I understand that, and I'm again struck by just the enormous difficulty from a scheduling perspective Trump will have having to deal with all these legal matters and campaign at the same time. It's going to be very exhausting. The trials will be the campaign. But, from the standpoint of winning the general election, you need to, Republicans have to understand that Trump has to, if he's the candidate, make an affirmative pitch to people who did not vote for him last time, or just hope that people are so disillusioned with Biden, not enough of them are going to show up. But really, he's got to win back Michigan. He's got to win back Pennsylvania. He's got to win back Arizona. He's got to win back Georgia. How do you do that if you're not in those states? Well, he'll be in Georgia. The other states where there's no indictment, he has to visit them. He has to talk to working people, people swing voters who've gone back and forth, and make a case that he deserves another chance at this. And I just have to think from a practical standpoint, set aside everything you actually think about the merits of the criminal indictments, that is going to be so much harder for him to do because of all this going on. And Republican primary voters may want to factor that into their decision making. But they've shown no inclination to do that thus far.
I think that if Donald Trump sold indictment tour T-shirts with the mugshot on the face and the tour dates that are in the cities where he's being indicted on the back, he could fund at least enough surrogates to go to all the other states to cover his bases. Well, look, I do think that it is likely that some conservatives will be characterizing the choice to get a speedy trial here as a political one. It's been really interesting to watch people on the right who don't typically have these same critiques of the criminal justice system suddenly see them with new, fresh eyes when it's Donald Trump, multi-billionaire elite who is being subject to the conditions that so many poor people are subject to in the criminal justice system. Generally speaking, a speedy trial is considered to be a boon for folks, many of whom don't have the money to get out of jail on bail and who are in jail before they've ever been convicted on a crime for very long periods of time. And we have all these speedy trial rules to ensure that people get trials as soon as possible. In this particular instance, it is interesting that seems to disadvantage Donald Trump, the feeling being that once he is president of the United States, he won't be able to go to jail, that he can use certain political avenues to pardon himself. People have different theories about the ability of that in various ones of these cases, but that seems to be the strategic advantage of why his team wants to put this off. So people are going to characterize this as a kind of a fast-tracked political prosecution, but it is worth noting all of the things that are critiques here. The idea that the jail conditions are bad, that the food in the jail conditions are bad. There were so many conservatives that were talking about how horrible the Fulton County jail is. Correct. Yeah. Correct. And we need to think about this, what kind of system we have. Is the punishment for a crime incarceration, or is it being tortured in these other intangible ways that are not specifically provided for in our kind of stated laws.
It's similar to when they were going after Trump and Trump act like the wiretapping, the FISA warrants, the surveillance, the Patriot Act era policies, and some conservatives, like for the first time, are apoplectic that this is being used to target them. But other more libertarian-leaning Republicans and civil libertarian leftists have been saying forever that these policies are very bad, and now you only care because it's affecting Trump. It's been affecting people for forever.
If anything good can come of this, I welcome it. If this opens Trump's eyes to criminal justice reform, even more so, he did make some inroads when he was in president with the Stop Act with Van Jones. Van Morrison. What am I going on my brain?
We're filling in each other's gaps today. It's
teamwork,
great.
Robby. Love to see it.
Now, Mehdi Hasan had a slightly different take. Let's play some of that.
One that long precedes his presidency and his political career. He has had a problem with people of colour for decades. We know he especially has a problem with black people, and we know above all else that he has a real issue with black women, with strong black women. Don't take my word for it. Take Donald Trump's. He led a chant of "send her back" against Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and even spread vile and racist conspiracy theories about her personal life. He called Vice President Harris nasty and disrespectful, and just this week mocked the way she talks.
She speaks in rhyme. It's weird. It's weird, but she has bad moments. And
in rhyme? What do you?
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here, and then the bus will go there, because that's what buses do, and it's weird.
He accused Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson of being disrespectful, there it is again, towards the white GOP senators who were questioning her. And even his own former advisor, Omarosa Manigault Newman, wasn't spared. He called her, a black woman, a dog. And yes, Donald Trump insults everyone and anyone, but there is something particularly vicious and bigoted to his rhetoric around black women. So there is a huge irony to the fact that at the center of his many legal troubles right now are 3 strong black women.
How stunning and brave.
Yeah, this is problematic for a couple of reasons. One is that Democrats have strategically put black female prosecutors in positions of power across the country, largely to insulate themselves against claims that they are backing criminal justice policies that negatively impact the black community. And Kamala Harris, ironically enough, is exactly one example of that. Someone who beat out a much more progressive prosecutor in her first DA race in San Francisco, largely on the idea that because she was black, she was going to ephemerally be good for black people,
and that clip
speaking.
He played of Donald Trump's remarks about Kamala Harris were not
They're not
a compelling
racist.
example, whatever, of him saying a racist thing about Kamala Harris. We've had that exact same criticism. Mehdi Hassan probably thinks I'm racist.
I've definitely been called racist, anti-black, and anti-woman. I've been accused of being white for leveraging some of these criticisms of Kamala Harris way back in 2017, I think, was my first article that was criticizing the way identity politics was being used to push forward people like her that I perceived to be actually conservative in their ideology about criminal justice reform, et cetera. And so I'm no stranger to those kinds of critiques, but I do think my advice to Mehdi would be that I know that you think it's helping, but I think it actually diminishes the credibility of black women and makes us targets when you attribute this certain kind of political behavior to race, especially when their political behavior is antithetical to the interest of the bulk of black women who are working class and poor like most people in this country.
Yeah, it was a weird use of identity politics there. That does it for us for today, but it's just Monday, so we've got the full week ahead of us. Lots of exciting news to get to. Tomorrow, we'll be back, and we'll be getting into some of that.
All right, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who prefer to listen while you're on the move, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
See you later.
Bye-bye.